Part 91. Heaven Swallowing Record. Author, Fengqing Yang. Chapter 911. There is no doubt that anyone with a discerning eye can see that in terms of individual strength, Xin Yan is definitely stronger than Wu Yu. At this time, Wu Yu was able to suppress Xin Yan in the spiritual weapon. The first reason was because his methods were varied, his body was the most wonderful, and his clones were weird and unpredictable. Even a puppet seemed to have an immortal body. Secondly, it was because of the ingenious cooperation between his body, clone, and puppet, and he had just the right timing. Now, many spectators are looking at the inverted giant cauldron. On top of the cauldron, the faces of 9 ferocious giant beasts emerge, roaring in a terrifying manner. The 9 cauldrons are now integrated into one, and the 9 kinds of sea of fire are burning and majestic inside. At this time, a horrific explosion was taking place, and it was completely enclosed. Every time there was an explosion, people's hearts tightened. Boom boom boom. The huge cauldron under Wu Yu's feet roared thousands of times, and Xin Yan must have withstood all the power it unleashed. Even if it has some kind of Jin Wuqi holy body, many people think that it will probably be in doubt this time. Writing this, I hope readers will remember our domain name Taiwan Novel Network Rightward Arrow. But Wu Yu knows best. What we encountered this time was indeed a very difficult opponent. Under the full force and destructive power of the 9 palaces furnace burning silence formation, the opponent was not defeated. Xin Yan is very tough, and he probably knows that this is probably the most important battle in his life so far. Even if he risks his life at this time, he will probably continue to fight. The more mentally tough he is, the more difficult he will be. Horrible. His meteor from the sky quickly collided with the changes in the formation. Before Wu Yu's Zhigong furnace burning silence formation erupted, the 2 giant hammers instantly merged and turned into a huge iron ball, smashing the Xinjian rock. Included in it, the power of Wu Yu's spiritual weapon exploded fiercely. Wu Yu couldn't see what happened to his opponent inside the iron ball. He could only see that the iron ball formed by the meteor from the sky was now covered in scars. Hundreds of holes were blown from a spherical shape into a pile of scrap metal. This was the time when people were most panicked, thinking that Xin Yan was defeated. Suddenly at this moment, a reversal occurred. Within the giant cauldron, a thick, rough, and explosive voice suddenly came out, "Emperor, Emperor, do you have this much ability? If you want to defeat me like this, then you are too naive. I was careless just now, next, I'll let you see what the real strength is." The sound was so loud that it made the entire first battlefield of God's city roar. When people heard this sound, they suddenly had 2 reactions. Those who were betting on Xin Yan's victory, or perhaps because of the pride of the Yanhuang tribe, immediately changed from frowning to beaming with joy, and even laughed out loud, secretly cursing Xin Yan for being shameless, for making everyone worry in vain. Those who wanted Wu Yu to win, or just bet on Wu Yu to win, were dejected at this time and could only look back reluctantly. "This is troublesome, Emperor." Yu also frowned. "Let me just say that this Wu Yu is too impulsive and trusts too much. He will always suffer a loss. If he suffers a loss, it will be a huge loss. He will lose the spiritual Taoist tool given to him by the ancient emperor. I think he will be in the capital of the gods in the future. How can you mess around and bring shame to the emperor?" Chu Fengjia was very angry. "Shut up, Emperor," Yu glared at her. Although he was in a bad mood and even thought so, the battle was not over yet after all. In fact, he wanted to stop Wu Yu just now, but Wu Yu didn't listen to his advice. A disobedient imperial envoy must have made him a little uncomfortable. "What are you worrying about? Didn't you see that idiot being beaten by old Wu? He doesn't have big breasts, and he has no brains," Nanshan Wanjiao said contentedly, smiling, and glanced at Chu Fengjia's chest. Chu Fengjia was annoyed. At this moment, a huge movement suddenly broke out below. People could clearly see that Wu Yu, who was standing on the giant cauldron, and the giant cauldron itself were shaken away by a majestic force. It was obvious that the Zhigong furnace burning silence formation of the spiritual weapon can no longer suppress Xuanhuan. A burst of majestic golden light bloomed, and in that moment, Xuanhuan jumped out like a giant in golden armor. The two huge round hammers he waved in his hands looked intact at this time, and the 5 golden males, the lions, accompanying him on his left and right, let out deafening roars. However, his own Jin Wukui holy body disappeared at this time. It can be seen that Xuanhuan was riddled with holes and blood dripping all over his body. The scars were deep enough to show the bones. The bridge of his nose was crooked on his face, and one of his eyes was bloody. The mouth was torn and the face was covered in blood. However, even with only one eye left, it can be seen that he seems to be more terrifying at this time. Maybe his combat effectiveness has been affected, but his desperate fighting will at this moment, the momentum of risking his life, is extremely majestic. He stared at Wu Yu, who flew out. At this time, Wu Yu was putting away 9 giant cauldrons. Those giant cauldrons were connected to form clubs and were held in his hands. The golden hair on his body also shone in this battlefield with golden light. People looked at Xuanhuan's appearance at this moment, fighting with blood, and were inspired to roll with enthusiasm. They roared Xuanhuan's name one after another. The first battlefield was a place full of blood and riots. When at least tens of thousands of strong men from the capital of the gods were there, when he shouted Xuanhuan's name to his heart's content, the voice could cover everything and cheer up Xuanhuan. Wu Yu would undoubtedly be suppressed greatly in the storm of this voice. Everyone knows that this is the best chance for Xuanhuan to reverse and defeat Wu Yu. And Xuanhuan did not disappoint everyone. He broke out at this moment. At this moment, he was covered in blood. In the roar, he rushed towards Wu Yu frantically with a selfless attitude. In this process, he gathered all his strength, and infused the more explosive power into the Shankang meteorite with the vast purple mansion force, and even stimulated the potential. For a time, the Shankang meteorite emitted a shining light, and projected the pattern of the galaxy above the heads of the two people, as if a magnificent galaxy appeared in front of the two people. In the blink of an eye, Xuanhuan rushed into the galaxy. He was immersed in the galaxy, as if he had merged with the galaxy. Then, the galaxy burst out with brilliant light, and the countless stars on it seemed to come alive at this time. A tremor caused the tremor of the first battlefield of the gods' capital. Wow! In the crowd, a huge noise and sighing sound was remembered. This is the galaxy falling killing formation. Wu Yu's doomsday has come. The old ones are the wisest. I said, how could the son of Emperor Yan suffer losses from the same person continuously? The last time in Jingxuan Palace, the son of Emperor Yan was angry enough. Xuanhuan, kill. The Yanhuang tribe is martial. In many cases, the fighting and fighting abilities of the cultivators are the key to being respected. This is also the reason why the Yanhuang tribe has always been the first tribe in the world of Yanfu. They have a fanatical fighting instinct in their bones. They cultivate Taoism just to fight. Boom boom boom. In the galaxy, the stars condensed, and suddenly, there was a largest star, which condensed other stars and landed towards Wu Yu. A meteor broke through everything. For Wu Yu, the size, power, and speed of this star were absolutely no different from the real meteorites he saw in the outside world. Such a huge power could really kill Wu Yu into pieces. Wu Yu knew that this was Xuanhuan's last counterattack, so he naturally knew the power of this magic array. If he went to meet it head-on, he could really destroy himself. The power of such a magic array, at least, could make the entire Bibo mountain sink deep into the ground. Buzz. The starlight was bright, the huge roaring sound, accompanied by the killing words of most of the Yanhuang people, as if the end of the world had come. Wu Yu stood under the bright starlight, and his eyes never wavered. Xuanhuan, at this moment, was ferocious, rude, like a mad demon. When the enemy fell into such a state, Wu Yu chose to be more indifferent and calm than him. At this moment, the meteorite fell on Wu Yu's head at a critical moment, and Wu Yu only moved at this time, which seemed to be much slower. Many people regretted that from this situation, Wu Yu's defeat was already a foregone conclusion. From their perspective, Wu Yu had frightened his opponent. At that moment, in the roar of the riot, Wu Yu's slow-moving body was about to be blown into pieces by the meteorite. Suddenly, a figure blocked Wu Yu's eyes and hit the meteorite directly. Bang! There was a sharp explosion, and people saw that the figure was instantly shattered and blown into pieces. In this blur, they could roughly see that it should be Wu Yu's puppet sword Spirit Lord, which was completely smashed by the meteorite at this time. It can be seen that the meteorite is powerful. However, the sword Spirit Lord hit from the side, and the meteorite was also greatly affected, directly missing the target, and it missed a lot. Northern Sea Holy Land Dragon Formation. The devouring heaven body appeared behind the meteorite. Wu Yu's original body, with its golden eyes, could clearly see the position of Xuanhuan in the formation behind the meteorite. When the Sword Spirit Master collided with the meteorite, the Northern Sea Emperor K in Wu Yu's devouring heaven body turned into a long whip, and a black dragon whipped Xuanhuan from behind. At this moment, Wu Yu's original body quickly missed the meteorite without any damage. 9 Tribulations Burning Heaven Shattering Prison. This is the strongest formation of the 9 Tribulations Furnace Burning Heaven Pillar. It broke out after Wu Yu temporarily froze Xuanhuan with the devouring heaven body. There were too many changes at this moment. In the blink of an eye, people saw Wu Yu soaring into the sky, and the 9-colored burning heaven pillar in his hand burst out with a much more terrifying power than before. Wu Yu was going to use all the violent techniques, but he gave up because he knew that he could defeat his opponent without using violent techniques. In fact, his opponent was already injured just now and was just fighting back desperately. At this moment, Wu Yu suppressed his counter-attack with calmness and sent the burning heaven pillar to his chest. Heaven Swallowing Record. Author, Fengqing Yang. Chapter 912. 9 Tribulations burned the sky and shattered the prison. At this moment, the 9 giant cauldrons merged into one, and the 9 ferocious beasts also merged into one at this moment. In the midst of the burning 9-color flames, a ferocious ape with golden fur is full of explosive destructive power. Its eyes, movements, and demeanor all show a rough atmosphere, and it has an extremely strong visual impact. Especially when he jumped high, holding the burning sky pillar in his hand, fell from the sky, and violently smashed it down. The destructive power of that stick caused the space to be distorted or even broken, and the strong vibration of the universe, possessing the most terrifying tearing ability. This stick transcended all Wu Yu's attacks. It seemed simple, but the most terrifying thing was that it was vibrating, and the shattering caused by the concussion. At this moment, wherever the burning sky pillar went, the surrounding space was extremely violent. The vibrations can cause the distortion of people's bodies, the distortion of Taoist tools, and even the distortion of everything. At this moment, Xuanhuan is undoubtedly miserable. Wu Yu still suppressed him. His strongest attack was intercepted by Wu Yu's Sword Spirit Master. At this time, in the eyes of outsiders, the Sword Spirit Master had been destroyed, but in fact it was not the case. At this juncture, he was entangled by Wu Yu's clone using the Beiming Emperor's palace. The long whip was wrapped around his body. This was a top-notch spiritual weapon, even better than the burning Tianzu. Under the entanglement, he felt a bone-chilling coldness. This is something that a person who grew up in the Yanhuang ancient kingdom has never experienced. He has no experience fighting against the Beiming clan. So for a while, he couldn't break free, and Wu Yu's 9 palaces furnace burning silence formation had already hit him to an injured state, and Jin Wuqi's holy body was destroyed. At this juncture, Wu Yu, who was indifferent, came with a stick, which was also perfectly coordinated, but this time it was fatal. Before the stick hit, the strong shock tore his flesh and blood. In an instant, people saw that his flesh and blood were torn apart in an instant, and there appeared a network of dense blood marks all over his body. Xuanhuan used his huge force to push open the frozen ice and beaming Emperor's palace, and raised his hands to grab Wu Yu's stick. This willpower is indeed terrifying. Boom! When the stick came, a pair of arms immediately shattered into pieces, and underneath was his head. If his head was hit, Xuanhuan would die. At this moment, the 5 male lions finally caught up and formed the 5 gold lion nightmare gate shield on top of his head. However, it was still a little bit at night. As soon as the 5 metal lion nightmare gate shield was unfolded, in an instant, Wu Yu's 9 tribulations burning heaven shattering prison directly hit it to pieces and was completely broken. This spiritual weapon, although it will not be destroyed, it will probably need to be repaired. A shock, explosion, and shattering proved to everyone that Wu Yu had completely mastered the 9 tribulations furnace burning sky pillar given by the ancient emperor in more than a month. This in itself is already a symbol of transcendent talent. At the next moment, Xuanhuan wanted to dodge, but he did not dodge in a hurry. The huge force did not hit his head, but he also hit his body. With a snap, the strong shock still tore at least half of his body into pieces. This it was still the result of Wu Yu's mercy. If he hadn't shown mercy, Xuanhuan would have died miserably at this time. Bang! Half of Xuanhuan's body fell to the ground, dying. He turned his head and saw Wu Yu's legs falling on the ground. He saw the burning sky pillar standing on the ground. He wanted to see more, but he no longer had the strength. The severe injuries left him in a coma. No. I can't be defeated, I can't be defeated, Emperor Yan, I'm sorry for you. I'm sorry for you, Xuanhuan collapsed, crying bitterly, and then he stretched out his hand to greet the person. The meteorite fell to the ground with a clang and hit his head. He was about to commit suicide. Bang! Before that, Wu Yu had entangled him with Bei Ming DK and froze him into ice, so that even if he wanted to die, it would not be that easy. He wanted to commit suicide in defeat. But Wu Yu didn't want to kill anyone here. Of course, he didn't want Emperor Yan to have any reason not to lose to him asking for the divine pill. What if Xuanhuan died and he didn't give it to him? Therefore, it is not that easy for Xuanhuan to die. At this time, Wu Yu, in front of everyone, slowly and calmly, as if nothing happened, first put away the fragments of the sword spirit master, and murmured, "To be honest, my sword spirit master is worth at least more than 3,000. I'm asking for the magical elixir, but I don't make much today." The sky-swallowing body fell down, and the 2 bodies were side by side. Wu Yu's body had released the state of immortal ape transformation and fought Tianxiang Earth. They were side by side, with the same appearance, but completely different temperaments. At this time, Xinjiang was frozen, and the entire first battlefield in the City of Gods was silent. The people who just shouted that Xuanhuan was going to reverse and defeat Wu Yu didn't know where to hide at this time. Most of them, at least 2/3 of them, looked at each other in confusion, seeing the embarrassment and confusion on the other's face. Depressed, and of course also convinced and jealous of Wu Yu. When the person on the first battlefield in Chengdu said with a trembling voice, "As you can see, in this battle, the emperor relied on his own means to defeat Xuanhuan openly, and he also did a good deed, is to prevent Xuanhuan from committing suicide. It can be said that he won the battle and also won the moral victory. I think everyone should applaud." I don't know who the speaker is, but he has obviously been impressed by Wu Yu, so when he said this, he didn't care much about Emperor Yan's face. After all, at this time, he was the most depressed, the most angry, and the most hit. People, not only Xuanhuan, but also Emperor Yan's son who brought humiliation to himself. Judging from today's battle, Emperor Yan's group of people thought they had a good shot at Wu Yu. They had information on many of Wu Yu's methods. However, Wu Yu was changing every day, and it would take a normal person at least half a year to master it. Wu Yu completed the spiritual weapon and its magic formation in more than a month. It was precisely because of this that Emperor Yan was defeated. This chapter is not finished yet, please click on the next page to continue reading the exciting content. In today's battle, the most realistic situation is that Xin Yan is very strong. He can suppress Wu Yu's body, clones and puppets alone. However, the combination of Wu Yu's 3, coupled with the terrifying killing ability of the body, from the beginning, just to suppress the opponent, Xin Yan in the middle rebounded a little, but was still suppressed by Wu Yu. From the beginning to the end, there was no real chance of winning. This is what people see. Of course, Wu Yu himself knew that the Sword Spirit Lord was crushed, and that he had used almost all means to defeat his opponent. This was enough to prove that this was a battle of close strength. If he was slightly negligent, he might also be defeated. All in all, it was a thrilling victory. He looked back and saw Yezixi in the shocked crowd, with tears in her eyes and looking at him with a smile. Perhaps, her own battle today could only have some venting effect, but Wu Yu's battle, but it inspired her. Maybe she knew how the inheritor of the immortal should use his own advantages to fight. If he could help her, Wu Yu would certainly be happy. Wu Yu. Perhaps at this time, those who bet on Wu Yu's victory reacted and shouted his name crazily. Even the emperor's envoy stopped calling. Wu Yu won, which meant that they could get twice as much money as they bet. Some people are brave and make a lot of bets, which is equivalent to making a fortune. This cheering sound is deafening. Today's events will eventually spread, which will make Wu Yu's reputation even more shocking to the whole country, and even the entire Yanfu world. This time, he almost defeated Emperor Yan head-on. It seemed that he was competing with Xin Yan, but in fact, he was really suitable to compete with Emperor Yan, and it was obvious that Wu Yu won a great victory. Next, Wu Yu will be the talking point after dinner when people are short of money. As for Emperor Yan, people may not dare to talk loudly, but it is inevitable that he will become a joke. After all, he has to pay 5,000 Dao Shendan here. This huge amount of money. This is really a shocking huge sum of money. It is estimated that after Emperor Yan takes out this sum, he will become very poor. At this time, Wu Yu walked out of the battlefield that had been opened amidst shouts. He was surrounded by fanatical crowds. At this time, he raised his head and his eyes met with Emperor Yan above. The old men were all looking at Wu Yu with oppressive eyes at this moment, but Wu Yu knew that no matter how majestic and sharp they were all losers and empty at this time. Therefore, his sharp and unruly eyes were during the confrontation with the opponent, he was not at a disadvantage at all. Wu Yu won the victory through a fair fight. Please put up the bet for Emperor Yan. Wu Yu raised his head and looked at Emperor Yan with a half smile. Of course, he is not worried about Emperor Yan not giving him a son. This is Diyuan Nation's territory. If he doesn't give it in such a battle, he will be in trouble with Emperor Yuan Tian. He will ruin Emperor Yuan Nation's signature. No one will come here to have fun in the future. Emperor Yan didn't respond and stared at Wu Yu for a long time. You are very interesting, but it's a pity that you are not the emperor. Otherwise, I would be really afraid of you. As for the emperor, you are just a waste, so there is nothing to worry about. Today's 5,000 Dao divine pills are just for me to admire you, Wu Yu. Emperor Yan finally said, throwing down a sumuru bag. The other party still wants to save face. Wu Yu might have said, this is not because you appreciate me, but because I earned it myself. However, this is not necessary. He has already got what he wants, so he has to give the other party some face, so he said, then thank Emperor Yan for the reward, and thank Your Excellency Xin Yan for being merciful. However, Emperor Yan, it's not a waste, there is still a long way to go, Emperor Yan, it's better not to make a conclusion yet. Of course he had to say a few words for Emperor Yu, because Emperor Yu was still a little angry at the word trash. Wu Yu saved his face for him. Emperor Yu smiled and said, "It doesn't matter, what do you like, brother, it's okay to treat me as you want." After all, as Emperor Envoy said, there is still a long way to go, and who can say for sure what will happen. Haha, Emperor Yan didn't say much and led the people away. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. Heaven Swallowing Record. Author, Feng Qing Yang. Chapter 913. When Wu Yu and his party returned to the Emperor's mansion, the news about Wu Yu at the first battlefield in the City of Gods was completely spread throughout the City of Gods. God is a place where information explodes. If something shocking happens in any corner, even trivial things, it can be quickly transmitted in a short period of time. Especially, things related to the Emperor's sons and daughters. The name of the Emperor's envoy once again alarmed the ancient kingdoms of Yan and Huang. Writing this, I hope readers will remember our domain name Taiwan Novel Network rightward arrow. The key to this matter is not that Wu Yu defeated Xin Yan, but that in the game between him and Emperor Yan, he obviously caught Emperor Yan off guard. This is the most important thing. This is something beyond strength. Along the way back, the news has spread. Wu Yu was already enough to attract people's attention, but now it is even more so. No matter where he goes, a group of people are watching. Chu Fengjiao and the others, on the other hand, had won a fortune thanks to Wu Yu, so they naturally didn't want to say anything more at this time. In fact, Chu Fengjiao wanted to imprison Yan, but Emperor Yu was standing next to him. If he wanted to imprison Yan, he would be disrespecting Emperor Yu's face. Wu Yu is already much stronger than Chu Fengjiao and the others, which is completely different from the time of Teiku Immortal Road. Now he can make the four of them fall down with just a move of his fingers. Wu Yu didn't listen to Emperor Yu's advice this time. Maybe, the Emperor will be a little unhappy. However, Wu Yu still won. I believe that even Emperor Yu can only get rid of the little discomfort in his heart at this time. After returning to the Emperor's mansion, Xuanhuan and the others left first. Emperor Yu said, "This offending Emperor Yan is also a turmoil. If you want to take any action next, please tell me and I will arrange it for you if it is convenient. After all, how can he suffer such a big loss? I don't dare to give up." Wu Yu said, "Does he still dare to assassinate me? Don't forget, I came here because of the ancient emperor's decree. No matter how concealed he is, he can't escape the ancient emperor's eyes." Emperor Zi smiled and said, "You are right. He is not so brave. In this case, I won't say more. For the current plan, it is better to make you and I as strong as possible." Indeed, the Emperor strives to reach the realm of the three disasters as soon as possible, so that he can really have the capital to fight against them. After the two finished speaking, they separated. "You are too strong. This Emperor will probably feel a little uncomfortable. Although your presence is very beneficial to him, otherwise at his age, it will be difficult to compete with others." Nanshin Mochizuki looked at the Emperor's expression when he left. The back view is meaningful. Wu Yu smiled and said, "That's why I don't worry about him so much. Besides, who knows what secrets he has. Anyway, the relationship with Emperor Keiru is just mutual use, and it is impossible for him to have a heart-to-heart relationship. The three of them are in the huge Emperor's palace. This Emperor's palace is too big and can accommodate tens of thousands of people. Naturally, the three of them will not be crowded here. I'm too lazy to worry about so much. I'll sleep for a few days to calm down my shock, and then go out to be free and unrestrained. The world is prosperous and beautiful. This God is so big. I haven't been to more than 90% of the places so far. Woolen cloth. The size of the divine capital is almost equivalent to some small countries in the Yanhuang ancient territory. This is the top place in the Yanhuang ancient kingdom. As long as you travel all over the divine continent and don't go to other places in the Yanhuang ancient kingdom, there will be no problem. This is the most prosperous place. Nanshan Wanjiao went to bed as soon as he said he wanted to, but soon he started snoring loudly. Brother Yu, I have also learned something. Now let's see if the demon-suppressing treasure staff can communicate with me. This time she went to see the human world, which had a great impact on her. The prosperous world outside was still extremely vast. After seeing it, her mentality changed dramatically. Do whatever you want, don't force it. Wu Yu nodded. Good. They are each using their own methods to cultivate Taoism, and Wu Yu also has his own methods. Recently, he has made rapid progress in Taoism, especially after studying the magic circle of the Nine Tribulations Furnace Burning Heaven Pillar, and has improved his own magic circle and alchemy attainments. He has made great progress. Recently, he changed the alchemy furnace to the level of a Taoist weapon, and then entered the fusion tower to calm down and study the dragon god ancient formation and alchemy. Many of the previous advances were made in battles. It has been a long time since I could calm down and study calmly day after day, follow the footsteps of my predecessors, and explore the mysteries of the magic circle and the Tao. The magic circle is often followed by Tao is interconnected. In the process of cultivating the Tao, we need to seek ourselves in the midst of experiences and battles, and we also need to calm down. Between the magic circle and alchemy, we must be rigorous and careful to pursue the accuracy of the Tao, comprehend the world, and pursue the achievements of our predecessors in the cultivation of the Tao. Feel and experience the essence and changes contained in each magic circle. It may take a long time, but once a breakthrough is achieved, the rewards will be greater. This is another form of progress that can further perfect Wu Yu's Tao and supplement what he lacks in radical epiphanies. Those radical and intense collision-like epiphanies can make his Tao more profound, more self-conscious, and more capable. Explosive vitality, and the long realization of calming down can make him more mellow and have a deeper foundation. The city of God was as calm as ever, with occasional fights occurring, which had nothing to do with Wu Yu. After all, Emperor Yu was also practicing Taoism in seclusion, so he probably felt the pressure from Wu Yu. Wu Yu can use 1 day in the floating life tower as 2 days, although this cannot increase his lifespan. He now has a lifespan of 400 or 500 years outside, and it is the same in the floating life tower. About 2 months have passed in the outside world, and about 4 months have passed in the floating life tower. Yazixi suddenly became excited, with a look of ecstasy on her face, and jumped to find Wu Yu. At this time, Nanshan Wanjiao was also there, so Wu Yu came out of the floating life tower, and the three of them gathered together. This chapter is not over, please click on the next page to continue reading. I have good news for you. Yazixi was sneaky, her eyes were blinking, black and bright. Little sister, just tell me quickly, in fact, even if you don't say it, I have guessed what it is. Are you secretly infatuated with Brother Nanshan? Don't worry, I will never refuse anyone, and I will never treat you badly. Nanshan Wanjiao laughed strangely. He waved the folding fan, which was familiar at this time, and was too lazy to change the beauty picture into a landscape painting, and waved it in front of Yazixi's eyes. Pervert, Yazixi stuck out her tongue at him, then looked at Wu Yu excitedly, her eyes shining, and said, Brother Yu, it finally paid attention to me. I had another dream, in which it passed on to me the art of cultivation. I finally have an art that I can practice, but it is different from what I practiced before. I guess I have to start over again, modify the previous practice, and then start practicing this art. In the world of cultivation, there are various methods of condensing qi, various methods of tempering golden elixir, and methods of expanding purple mansion and nurturing the soul. Wu Yu's Dapan Tiangxianshu completely contains all the methods of becoming an immortal, so Wu Yu does not need to look for better ones every time he improves, but Yazixi is different. She has used different methods from cultivation to the soul realm. If she wants to use new methods next, she will definitely need to spend a lot of time and energy to modify the previous ones. Although it is more difficult than Wu Yu and Nanshan Wanjiao, there is no way. After all, she is different from Wu Yu and did not get the immortal inheritance at the beginning. Wu Yu was of course happy for her. In fact, this step is very important. Congratulations, you have taken this first step, and then many things will come naturally. What Wu Yu was worried about was that she could not take the first step for a long time, and even could never communicate with the demon subduing staff, then she would be no different from not getting the demon subduing staff. Taking the first step, the immortal inheritance would be really settled. However, the general of the curtain is an immortal from the heaven, a celestial immortal. You have all the methods of ghost cultivation. Now you want to change to immortal cultivation, which is equivalent to changing a system. It should be difficult, Nanshan Wanjiao asked. The question he raised was indeed very critical, and it was also something Wu Yu had considered. Wu Yu said, after all, the immortal method is still stronger. If it is an ordinary method of cultivation, I think there will be a conflict, but this immortal method, I think it can suppress her previous ghost and god way and make her change. Wu Yu thought so. They looked at Yezixi. At this time, Yezixi shook her head, her face full of doubt, and she stammered, but, the demon subduing staff passed on to me seems to be a method of ghost cultivation, it should be the way of ghost cultivation, and it also said that after cultivation, you can become a ghost god, and shock the hell. What? Wu Yu and Nanshan Wanjiao said in unison, their faces were very strange. It's impossible, General Wanlian, the general in front of the Jade Emperor, how could he pass on the method of ghost god to you? Wu Yu shook his head, he thought that Yezixi might have made a mistake. Because the demon subduing staff chose her, it was impossible to give her a substandard product, and he was originally a celestial being, how could he have something of the way of ghost god, and after cultivation, he could become a ghost god? Yezixi said innocently, but it's true. The name of the spell is 10 Wheels of Kasidagarba Ghost God. With this name, how could it not be a method for ghost cultivation? And I saw that demon subduing staff, it was shiny black and had a strong evil spirit, which also looked a bit like a weapon for ghost cultivation. 10 Wheels of Kasidagarba Ghost God. Wu Yu and Nanshan Wanjiao looked at each other. They both thought it was still a bit incredible. So, this general who rolled up the curtain might not be an immortal, but a ghost? But how could a ghost be a general in front of the Jade Emperor? He is one of the people closest to the Jade Emperor. Or, he saw that Zixi was a ghost cultivator, or was not the inheritor he wanted most, so he just gave her a method to cultivate into a ghost, Nanshan Wanjiao said. From Wu Yu's perspective, he was unwilling to believe this guess, and Yezixi would be more frustrated after hearing it. Heaven Swallowing Record. Author, Fengqing Yang. Chapter 914. Actually, no matter what, it's all our guesses. At least I believe that no matter what, at least we can know that this is definitely better than any cultivation method in the world of Yama. The key is that Zixi doesn't need to change from the way of ghosts and gods to the way of celestial beings to continue to cultivate her way, which is already much more convenient. At least since ancient times, no one can change from ghosts and gods to the way of celestial beings. Wu Yu comforted her. Actually, from my feeling, he should give me the best, his own way of cultivation, because in the dream, I seemed to hear some mumbling, saying that he must let his inheritor return to heaven. Yezixi said weakly. Then there is even less need to consider it. You just practice according to this 10 Wheels of Kasidagarba ghost nerve. There will definitely be significant progress, Wu Yu said firmly. Well, I understand. And in addition to this 10 Wheels of Kasidagarba ghost nerve, there is also a method of exercising the body. I see that your physical bodies are very powerful, and there must be the same method. Although you only know the first level of cultivation method now, you will definitely know more and more in the future, Yezixi said happily. Meow, Lazy Cat was also very happy, running around beside. This method of bodybuilding seems to be called. Yezixi tilted her head and thought about it, and finally remembered it, and said happily, it's called the Hell Reincarnation Body. Each level is a Hell reincarnation. After the 10th level, the body turns into Hell, endless and immortal. Hell Reincarnation Body. Indestructible Body. Nanshan Wanjiao did not reveal his, but it is probably similar. In fact, his battle is largely based on the physical body, and his own realm is not very high. Among the three people, the one with the highest realm is Yezixi. When she transforms all the previous training into the 10 wheels of Ksatigarba Ghost Nerve, the quality of her Purple Palace energy itself can be improved, and her combat effectiveness will be greatly improved at that time. After all, her realm is really high. Of course, this transformation is not easy and may take a long time. I'm done with you. I'm going to practice quickly. Goodbye, Yezixi ran away happily. This little girl has a goal to pursue, and her mood has improved a lot. She has come out of the haze. Nanshan Wanjiao is probably also protective of his brother. Now he likes Yezixi no matter how he looks at her. Yes, she has come out, but this unforgettable thing will always be a nightmare and will never disappear, Wu Yu sighed. He saw his parents being killed with his own eyes. Well, one day, the three of us will kill everyone. Nanshan Wanjiao smiled, said goodbye to Wu Yu, and went out to fool around again. Of course, although he went to fool around, his strength did not fall behind at all, and his progress was almost comparable to Wu Yu. The three are moving forward in different ways. Wu Yu returned to the Fusion Tower. If the Fusion Tower could only accommodate himself, he would probably bring Yezixi in and give her twice as much time. Back in the Fusion Tower, Wu Yu continued to study his own magic circle. This time, Yezixi's matter also had a clue, so he had nothing else to worry about and made faster progress. Time passed quietly. Wu Yu hadn't entered the state of selflessness for a long time. He was moving forward in the direction of Tao little by little, and was also studying the array to make up for his previous shortcomings. This was a precise self-examination and rigorous process of cultivation. The realm might be much slower than before, but the gains were actually greater than before. When I said goodbye to Luo Bin, I said that I would have the qualifications to catch up with her and meet her within 10 years. I didn't expect her to be so powerful and actually the Dragon Lord of the Four Seas. The dragon that rules the world. Since she left, the ancient immortal road has been a year, and the Beiming Empire has not been interrupted. After coming to Yanhuang, a long time has passed. There are only 5 or 6 years left. I have to work harder, otherwise, she is afraid of becoming an immortal. It has been 2 years since Wu Yu defeated Xin Yan and practiced Taoism in seclusion. Of course, this is 2 years in the Fusion Tower. Outside, a year has passed. Wu Yu has not shown up in this year. Except for Nanshan Wanjiao, who is still active, the people in Ledi Mansion seem to have disappeared. Ledizi himself is relatively low-key. The turmoil a year ago has long passed, and Yan Daizi has also walked out of that joke. Obviously, no one mentioned that he lost to Wu Yu for 5,000 divine pills. However, Nanshan Wanjiao has made progress while playing, and has advanced 1 level ahead of Wu Yu. It is estimated that he can barely fight against the 2nd level of the 3 disasters realm. Of course, it is just barely, and he just needs to keep from being defeated. As for Yezixi, after practicing the 10 wheels of Ksatigarba Ghost Nerves, her temperament changed drastically, becoming darker and purer, with black hair and black eyes, snow-white skin, and a deep temperament. Ordinary people would be scared when they saw her, but she was very well behaved towards Wu Yu and Nanshan Wanjiao. Darkness was only her temperament, not her character. She was the same as before, pure and natural. Only when she mentioned the ancient Emperor Yanhuang, would she become very gloomy and fall into a dead silence of darkness. At the same time, after a year, she had completed the first level of the Hell reincarnation body, and her physical power increased greatly. Although it was far behind Wu Yu, it was still a great improvement with the Purple Palace energy that surpassed Wu Yu. The Hell reincarnation body was a bit like a whirlpool, as if it was Hell itself. In addition to the darkness of the magic power, there was also a mystery and depth from Hell. Sometimes, if you look at her body for a long time, it will be like a dizzy whirlpool, spinning strangely, and the center seems to lead to the depths of Hell. She has gradually stepped on the right track and formed a path that truly belongs to her. At this time, when Wu Yu sees her, he will not doubt whether the general of the curtain has passed on the best to her. What Yezixi got is everything of the general of the curtain. She felt a bit opposite to Wu Yu. Wu Yu was violent, arrogant, unruly, fierce, and shining with golden light, while her current path was gloomy, dark, restrained, and weird, which was different from Wu Yu's body of swallowing the sky. The body of swallowing the sky was not dark, but truly weird and weird. Its ability to swallow was not restrained, but violently plundering everything, which was fundamentally different from the darkness of Yezixi. Nanshan Wanjiao was naturally becoming more and more demonic, with more handsome looks, and was simply a charmer. His methods were also more abundant, including invisibility, illusion, and even various changes. Wu Yu, after calming down and falling into a deep degree of retreat, exploring the magic circle and alchemy, finally achieved perfection in merit, and his body realm entered the fourth level of the Yuanshen realm. There is progress again. After the progress of the Tao, Wu Yu quickly raised his Purple Palace energy to the fourth level of the Yuanshen realm. Although the Purple Palace energy forged by the Great Heavenly Immortal technique is the fourth level, it is actually at least the eighth level of a normal person. This is the superiority of their cultivation method. Now Yezixi's realm is still the ninth level of the Yuanshen realm, but in fact her Purple Palace energy has improved a lot. Of course, her transformation is still not complete, and it will take a long time. Wu Yu has 5,000 Dao Shendan. He raised his own realm to the fourth level before using 2 Dao Shendan. The first time he used the Dao Shendan, Wu Yu realized that the medicinal power of this thing was so powerful, comparable to the Dao Yuanshen pills piled up like a small mountain. Of course, it is also because his current Purple Palace energy and realm are indeed not strong. The normal Dao realm still has a great demand for Dao Shendan. His 10,000 clones were also upgraded. 1 Dao asking pill was enough for dozens of clones. When all the clones were upgraded to a new realm and became stronger, more than 500 Dao asking pills were still consumed. His clones were still able to consume far more than his original body. After all, there were too many. This time it was considered a comprehensive upgrade. For the time being, there was no opportunity for the 4 great magical powers to break through. Wu Yu's main energy was on the Dao. After reaching a new realm, he would focus on the law of heaven and earth and the somersault cloud, which were easier to break through now. In addition, there was the heaven-devouring body. The swallowing ability of the heaven-devouring body was Wu Yu's biggest secret, and Nanshan Wanjiao and Yezixi didn't know it yet. There was no one in the divine capital that Wu Yu could kill silently. He would not kill innocent people either. As for the Ghost Flame Clan and the Lava Hell, Wu Yu would not go there again because of Yezixi. So he thought about it and temporarily gave up letting the heaven-devouring body upgrade and wait for a good opportunity. After all, now he had space and could upgrade at any time. Reaching a new realm, it was considered that the goal for a period of time had been completed. Wu Yu relaxed for a while, and played with Yezixi and Nanshan Wanjiao in Chengdu and nearby areas for a while. Le Daiza made rapid progress, and even broke through rapidly, entering the 9th level of the Yuanshen realm. This was the most explosive news in Chengdu in the past year. The news that Dize might be the son chosen by the ancient emperor began to spread in the ancient country of Yanhuang. Dize's rapid progress gradually pushed himself to the forefront. He was very smart, did not cause trouble, practiced behind closed doors, never provoked other sons of the emperor, and was very tolerant. Wu Yu knew that in secret, many high-ranking officials, generals, local lords, and overlords had come to him. Dize of course accepted them one by one to expand his power. Occasionally taking Wu Yu to play in Chengdu was also very attractive. Next, Wu Yu mainly wanted to conquer the two magical powers of Fa Tian Xiangdi and Jin Do Yun. 2 months later, there was still no progress. Wu Yu felt it was difficult and fell into a struggle. On this day, Dize came to De mansion. He looked serious and said, "I want to tell you something." "Please go ahead." "I have a friend who has information about the person you wanted to know last time. That person is called Nangang Wei." Boom. Wu Yu's head was buzzing. The last day of 2016. The first day of 2017. In the new year, I wish my classmates grow up quickly, have good luck in love, make a fortune, don't have to work, count money until their hands cramp. In Tianji, a new journey has also begun. Heaven-swallowing record. Author, Feng Qing Yang. Chapter 915. Wu Yu was just casually talking about it at the party, and he really didn't expect that he would really be brought to him by the emperor's house, Nangang Wei's news. Such an unexpected moment made his mind go blank for a moment. Calm down a little, he thought, there must be a lot of people named Nangang Wei in this world of Yanfu, so it may not be her news. It is a bit too early to be happy or excited now. So he calmed down a little, and then said to Emperor Yu, "Emperor, do you have any detailed news?" Emperor Zi smiled and said, "Of course there is, otherwise I wouldn't tell you." "That's it? Last time you told me about this at the party, I asked many friends to help find out the information. The information you gave was too vague. I didn't have much hope, but I didn't expect that I have a friend who has some connections with the demons in the Nanyan Demon Continent and is powerful there. You know the Nanyan Demon Continent, right?" Wu Yu has seen the map of Yanfu world, and of course he knows about the Nanyan Demon Continent. In fact, Nanyan Demon Continent is not among the 19 continents in the world. Its original name was Nanyan Yao Island. It is the largest island in the Yanfu world. It is located in the southern part of the Yanhuang Ancient Territory. Its area from the Yanhuang Ancient Territory is approximately equivalent to about 1/2 of the area from Dongsheng Shenzhou to the Yanhuang Ancient Territory. Its area is approximately 1/3 of Dongsheng Shenzhou. Therefore, it does not count as a continent, it can only be regarded as the largest island. Of course, because the spiritual energy, monastic resources, and treasures of heaven and earth on Nanyan Demon Island are all on the same level as the Yanhuang Ancient Territory, much better than the desolate Dongsheng Divine Continent, and there are many connections with the Yanhuang Ancient Territory, so for countless years, is habitually called Nanyan Yazhu. If it is considered a continent, there are 20 continents in the world. The reason why it is called Demon Continent is because it is the territory of demons. Of course, it is not sea demons, but land demons. In fact, the relationship between land demons and sea demons is very bad, and they look down on each other. There are still many disputes. Generally speaking, sea demons are indeed stronger than land demons because of the vast sea area and huge numbers. After all, land is basically the territory of monks, especially the Yanhuang tribe. Of course, land demons are not bad, and the Nanyan Demon Continent is famous because more than 90% of it is demons. There are also demon base camps in the Yanhuang Ancient Territory, but they are not as good as the Nanyan demons. The continent is so large. In the Nanyan Demon Continent, the human race is considered a vulnerable group and is relatively rare. Demons are everywhere. However, there is no country established there, but many powerful demons fighting for hegemony. The strong respond to one call, and there are hundreds of millions of little demons. They occupy one side, occupy the mountain as king, and divide their territories. There is no unified leader, but many demon lords. Demon King fights for hegemony, fighting for territory and resources for years, with constant wars. Compared to the Yanhuang ancient territory, it is indeed very chaotic. It is a world where the weak eat the strong and the strong are respected. In that place, today is the Demon King, who owns countless lands and has thousands of little demons under his command. However, as long as he is killed, everything on his body changes hands instantly. Fights were frequent. This form is a bit like the Taoist sects of Dongsheng Shenzhou, such as Xuanhuan Immortal sect and Xuanhuan Taoist sect, but it is more primitive and barbaric. Wu Yu himself felt that establishing an empire of cultivating immortals like this in the Yanhuang ancient territory was the most mature social method. There were many sects in Dongsheng Shenzhou, which valued the inheritance of masters and apprentices, and had high loyalty but low efficiency. It was considered relatively mature, and that the pure fighting for hegemony in Nanyan Demon Continent should be the most chaotic. Of course, the strong men produced in this way are also extremely fierce. He has a certain understanding of Nanyan Ye's who. After knowing that he knew something, Emperor Zi continued, "It's like this. My friend's forces over there heard that there is a place called Fenki Mountain in the southernmost part of Nanyan Demon Continent. There is an existence called the Black Blade Demon King, whose true form is a black demon blood black bee. This guy has a son who was killed a few days ago, so this guy is very sad and angry, and with great fanfare, he offers a reward for a man named the woman named Nangang Wei is said to be a demon in the shape of a flaming bird. I guess she might be the one you are looking for. A demon in the shape of a flaming bird. Nangang Wei has the bloodline of a phoenix and can return to her ancestors. Although she is still a human, she is actually close to the bloodline of the phoenix fairy beast. If the vague description is a flaming bird, then it is really possible that she is a phoenix who has returned to her ancestors. There may be many people named Nangang Wei in this world, but the one who can be misunderstood as the flame bird demon is probably her." After hearing this, Wu Yu already felt that it was very possible. The emperor clapped his hands and said, "I remembered, there is another feature, that is, the flame bird has 9 colors of flames, just like your 9 tribulations furnace burning heaven pillar, which is very gorgeous." When these words were spoken, Wu Yu bit his lip and fell silent. When she turned into a 9-color phoenix, of course Wu Yu saw it clearly and would never forget it. Seeing Wu Yu's silence, Emperor Yu was confused and asked, "Why, isn't he the person you are looking for? I thought I was sure of it." Next to him, Nanshan Wanjiao shook his folding fan, thoughtfully. In fact, after he came to the City of Gods, he also learned about the Nanyan Demon Continent. He was originally a demon, but now he is in the human race's immortal empire. He is indeed a little despised. If it weren't for Wu Yu gave him an identity, and it was difficult for him to survive, so he would naturally go and learn about this place where demons and demons compete for hegemony. Speaking of which, he definitely wanted to go. As for Yezixi, she was thinking about the relationship between Nangang Wei, who was obviously a woman, and Wu Yu. She had rarely seen Wu Yu attach so much importance to finding someone. At this time, she stared at Wu Yu. After Emperor Yu spoke, she continued, "No, this should be the person Brother Yu is looking for. There can be no mistake. If it wasn't what he was looking for, he would probably be very disappointed." Instead of the slightly complicated look like now. Wu Yu nodded and said, "The Emperor's son should be her." Not only because Qiang's sword immortal entrusted him to find her, but if she was still in Dongsheng Shenzhou, Wu Yu might not pay attention to her anymore, but she disappeared, her life and death are unknown, and now she doesn't know who she is. No one knows what the situation is, whether he is alive or dead, or is being coerced by others. Now that I think back to what happened when I was young, those scenes are lingering. The reason why Wu Yu is complicated is that he wonders whether he should look for her. Should I find this answer? Emperor Yu said, why, do you want to find her? In fact, there is nothing going on in the capital of gods now. It is not impossible for you to go to Nanyan Demon Continent. Even though it is the world of demons over there, I really take care of it. Without you, the risk is too great. Wu Yu said, let me think about it first. He needs to give himself a reason. It seems that the Nangong Wei who appeared in Fenki Mountain, if not her, is at least related to her. She disappeared. She left without saying goodbye. She didn't even tell her father. She definitely couldn't have taken the initiative. She was either kidnapped or taken away somewhere by mistake. So, no matter what her current situation is, I at least want to know what is going on. It is not just to agree to Qiang's Sword Immortals promise, but also to give myself an answer. Although the past things have passed, if she is in danger or cannot help herself, I must help her. Wu Yu made a choice after thinking for a while. He felt that if he didn't go this time, he might regret it for a long time, especially what if he missed the opportunity to save her. At this moment, he suddenly raised his head, looked at Emperor Yu, and said, Emperor, I need to go there. Emperor Keiru had long expected this outcome. He nodded and said, okay, you have helped me enough during this period. Although you are going out to take risks, it is your own choice after all. You should respect it. But I think the only thing I can do to help you is to get the regent to let you out. There are very few strong people in the Yanhuang tribe who are willing to accept my request to protect you when you go to Nanyan Yazhu. They are afraid of danger. Once you get there, it's all on your own. It's good that he is willing to let him leave. Wu Yu said quickly, thank you very much, Emperor. I must be careful about safety issues. After the matter is completed, I will return quickly. If anything happens, summon the talisman, just get in touch. He has been to the Teku Immortal Road, the Ghost Sea Prison, and the Lava Hell, but it is just the Nanyan Demon Continent. No matter how dangerous it is, with his methods, it is not a big problem unless he offends some super strong person. Don't underestimate Nanyan Demon Continent, Emperor Zi said seriously. Brother Yu, I want to go, Yezixi said hurriedly. Let's all go together. I've long wanted to visit Nanyan Demon Continent. Of course you can't leave me alone. There are so many beautiful female demons there, waiting for my favor, Nanshan Wanjiao also said. Wu Yu looked at them. In fact, this is your own business. Of course, it is more convenient for you. However, now the two of them rely on themselves to be free in God. Once they leave, something happens to them, and their situation will be more troublesome. Wu Yu does care about them. Although going to Nanyan Demon Continent with him was an adventure, they had to follow him. Yezixi definitely didn't want to leave her, and Wu Yu didn't feel comfortable leaving her behind. After all, she now regarded him as a relative. As for looking at the moon at Nanshan Mountain, he himself wanted to go. So Wu Yu nodded and said, okay, then the three of us will go. They were both delighted to receive his permission. In fact, they think it is more interesting than staying in Chengdu. The rules and levels of Chengdu are too strict, like a sophisticated machine. Here, there are strong people everywhere, and they can't take action everywhere. It's so overwhelming that people can't breathe. Seeing this, Emperor Yu said, the three of you are also taking care of me, so I will ask the regent for the exit documents. By the way, you have probably never crossed the sea and left the Yanhuang ancient territory. I have to give you a special great advice. I'm busy with my own chores today, so I'm updating chapter 1. I can update more tomorrow and the day after tomorrow. For the fastest updated website of this book, please visit yun/li/ge, or visit the website directly. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. Heaven Swallowing Record. Author, Fengqing Yang. Chapter 916. Suggestion. Wu Yu traveled from Dongsheng Shenzhou to Beiming Empire, crossing the seas where demons were rampant. He had been on the road for such a long time, but he did not encounter any powerful sea demons. The first reason was that he was lucky and did not encounter any. The second reason was that Dongsheng Shenzhou and the surrounding seas were very barren, and the sea demons were too lazy to go there. The seas near the Yanhuang ancient domain are full of spiritual energy, so there are many marine creatures that have transformed into demons, possessing spiritual intelligence and roaming the seas. It is said that the entire sea of the Yanfu world is several times the size of the Yanhuang ancient domain, and the number of sea demons it has is at least 5 to 10 times that of the human race, or even more. The reason why they failed to capture the Yanhuang ancient domain is that the sea is vast, and the situation of the various demons is similar to that of the Nanyan demon continent. They are kings, fighting for hegemony, and snatching the territory of the sea, which has already consumed the demon's combat power. Secondly, the forces of the Yanhuang ancient domain have established various immortal empires, and their combat power is very efficient. There are also many super attack and killing formations passed down by their ancestors, stationed on the border. The inheritance of cultivators is more complex and diverse than that of demons, and the inheritance of demons depends more on blood, which is the easiest to lose. There is also a third point. Although the number of sea demons may even be 10 times that of the human race in the Yanhuang ancient domain, the number of truly top-notch strongmen has not been as many as that of the human race since ancient times. There may even be fewer. For example, there is no such person as the Yanhuang ancient emperor among the sea demons. The sea demons dare not come to attack the Yanhuang ancient domain, but the human cultivators actually dare not go to the sea easily, because it is the territory of the sea demons. Basically, as long as you encounter demons, you may be attacked. Demons are naturally willing to kill people and rob treasures in their own territory. I hope readers will remember our domain name Taiwan Novel Network rightward arrow. Wu Yu went to Nanyan Demon Continent this time, and he had to pass through a large sea area where a large number of demons gathered. From the Yanhuang ancient domain to Nanyan Demon Continent, there is a sea area in the middle. Many sea demons are specially guarding this place. The purpose is to cut off the connection between the Yanhuang ancient domain and Nanyan Demon Continent and isolate Nanyan Demon Continent. Of course, it is also to intercept and kill passing monks and land demons and rob monks of their property. The sea area is their territory, and they are best at fighting in the sea area. The boundless sea is their world. If you want to pass by, you must prepare one thing, otherwise there will be no place to rest and recuperate. Eliza said a lot at once. What is it? A warship for going out to sea. It can sail in the sea and sky. It is also a Taoist weapon and can withstand a certain degree of attack. You have a lot of capital. You need to prepare one when you go to Nanyan Yazhu, or even to other places in the future. It must have two very important characteristics. The first is that it is solid and resistant to attack. It has a very strong defensive array. The defensive array is the foundation of a warship, just like the offensive array of a Taoist weapon. With your current financial resources, you can at least buy a warship of the upper spiritual Taoist level, which is not expensive for you. It turned out to be this thing. If Wu Yu went alone, he felt that it would not be very useful. He could go up to the sky and hide in the ground by himself. However, this time, Nanshan Wanjiao and Yezixi followed him, and he also needed to consider them. He could control the somersault cloud to escape everywhere, but they couldn't. Moreover, flying so far, even the somersault cloud still consumed a lot of purple mansion energy. Once he encountered a battle, he was afraid that he would be exhausted by then, and the warship could reduce a lot of consumption. Although it is at the level of a high-level spiritual weapon, it is basically not more expensive than an attack-type high-level spiritual weapon. It is estimated that a very good warship with a powerful defensive array is less than the price of a one long stick. The second point is more important, that is concealment. There must be a concealment array that can make the warship almost invisible and silent. Even a strong person cannot find it without getting close, so many illusion arrays need to be drawn inside. This is equivalent to Nanshan Wanjiao's invisibility ability. Sturdy and hidden. If you are only active in the ancient country of Xuanhuan, you don't need this warship very much, and you don't need it to be very hidden, but if you go out to sea, you need it. Usually, you only need to allocate a little mental control, and most of the time, you can enter the state of cultivation. Wu Yu's situation is special. In fact, he doesn't need it as much as other cultivators, but he thought about it. This time, 3 people are acting together. It's so far away, and it's still tiring to rely on mana alone. Nanshan Wanjiao can't be invisible all the time. A solid high-level spiritual weapon warship with a concealment array is indeed needed. Okay, I'll go buy a warship. Wu Yu decided. He also had a desire to explore this vast world of Yamafu, to see how big the sea is, and how many sea monsters there are. I recommend a shop for you, specializing in selling warships for sailing in the sea. The prices are quite reasonable. The address is. Emperor Yu really took good care of Wu Yu, and even chose the shop for him. You can go and find it now. If you are not satisfied, you can go to other shops. In fact, there are not many warships for going to sea, and they are still at the level of spiritual instruments, and there are even fewer for sale. In the entire Chengdu, there are not many shops that can sell spiritual instruments. I will get the exit documents for you. After all, you are the key person called back by my father. If you want to leave Yanhuang, I still have to make it clear to the regent. If other people want to go abroad, they can't alarm the regent. Wu Yu glanced at him a few more times and felt that he was much more mature than when he was on the Taku Immortal Road. Maybe it was because of the huge change in his mentality this time, and his progress in the realm was indeed very fast. He was less than 50 years old in the Yuanshen realm. At the 9th level, his speed exceeded that of Princess Yuking. Wu Yu really didn't believe that the Taku Immortal Road had no effect on him. This chapter is not finished yet, please click on the next page to continue reading the exciting content. Emperor, thank you very much. When I return, I will serve you again, Wu Yu said solemnly. There is no need to say this. We are already brothers. Helping each other is all within our own duties. After the emperor said with a smile, he had to go to see the regent in person and apply for the meeting. Of course, it seemed more complicated. Be sincere. After he left, Nanshan Wanjiao and Yezixi looked at him eagerly, probably because they were afraid that Wu Yu would change his mind. Wu Yu said with a smile, let's go, get the warship first, get the exit documents, and then let's go now. You are so anxious. It seems that this Nangong Wei is your little lover. Is she the one you miss day and night? Nanshan Wanjiao said with a lewd smile. No, but she is someone who must find her and confirm her safety. Wu Yu shook his head. Ah. Then my little sister Zixi must be very happy, Nanshan Wanjiao joked. You bastard, don't talk nonsense. Yezixi said nervously, not daring to look at Wu Yu. She does have some affection or admiration, but this is an emotion that even she herself is not sure about, or maybe he knows that Wu Yu obviously has a sweetheart, so during this time, she no longer cares as much as she thought. I think it's great to have someone to accompany me like this. Let's go. Wu Yu smiled at her, and then left. The 3 of them left the emperor's mansion, quickly left the palace, and headed to the place introduced by Emperor. That place is called Voyage, and judging from the name, it means that it specializes in selling warships at sea. It will obviously be more professional. Even though he hasn't been seen for a long time, Wu Yu still attracts attention when walking on the streets of Chengdu. This voyage is not in a very obvious place in the City of God, and it is far behind the first battlefield in the City of God. In a corner, Wu Yu found the voyage book. The voyage book was actually a Taoist warship. It shouldn't be at the level of spiritual Taoist weapons, but there are at least 90,000 or more magical formations. The 9 colors on it are very gorgeous. It is a colorful ship in the capital of the gods. The ship is inlaid with many pearls and crystals, and has spiritual power. The patterned gems emitted bright light. It happened to be night, so the voyage warship looked particularly beautiful. It's so beautiful Yazixi stared at the colorful warship with wide eyes. TCH, this is a flashy thing. If it were driven into the sea, it would be crushed by sea monsters in less than a day, Nanshan Wanjiao said with disdain. But it's just beautiful, Yazixi rolled her eyes at him. Miao, Lalan Mao also wanted to demonstrate to Nanshan Wanjiao. After the two of them got acquainted, they often quarreled. Wu Yu had long been used to it. After all, their paths were completely different. Yazixi's world was simple and melancholy, while Nanshan Wanjiao's, wildlife. Of course, this warship was not for sale. When Wu Yu boarded the deck and walked through the door of the cabin, the interior was very elegant, all in white. There were already many warships placed in the aisles on both sides. At this time, they have all shrunk. The ones near the door are still at the level of super spiritual artifacts. In the capital of the gods, these are sold to children for fun. I guess all the good stuff is in them. Your distinguished guest is here. I am sorry that I am not welcomed from afar. I am ashamed. I am ashamed. As soon as I came in, a beautiful female voice came out. At this time, a charming woman walked out. She is very charming, her voice is soft and moist, gentle and measured. At first glance, she is someone who knows how to sell treasures. Welcome Emperor Yu and 2 distinguished ladies to my shop. The young lady's name is Yao 11. I wonder what the 3 of you need. Do you need the young lady to introduce you to them? This Yao 11 is said to be a little girl. In fact, she is probably more than 3 times older than Yazixi, but her strength is amazing. She is in the realm of the 3 disasters. Although she is probably the first level, she is still considered to be in the capital of the gods. One side is strong. So this small shop actually doesn't look big, but it is actually one of Chengdu's signatures. Wu Yu got straight to the point and said, I want a spiritual Taoist artifact. When Yao 11 heard this, he smiled happily and said, Emperor is so direct that it scares others. These are just toys. I won't waste Emperor Envoy's time with them. I really have the level of spiritual Taoist weapon, some nice treasures, please come with me. Heaven Swallowing Record. Author, Feng Qing Yang. Chapter 917. Next, Yao 11 took Wu Yu and the others forward in the voyage and took many detours. Along the way, there were basically Taoist-level warships of all kinds, from the 10,000 magic formation to there are up to 100,000 magic arrays. Huo Ran Wen. R-A-N-E-N. Obviously, Wu Yu wanted to buy this warship and had to leave the Yanhuang ancient kingdom. However, Yao 11 did not ask any more questions. He was chatting with Wu Yu about other things along the way. Before Wu Yu could answer, Nanshan Wanjiao came over. Going forward, he looked like a gentleman. He made Yao 11 chuckle and said in just a few words, Young Master Nanshan is really interesting. I will be happy every day if I can become friends with you. That is, although I am good looking, I still have a lot of content inside. Beauty, do you want to explore more? He said such an explicit and shameless question very formally. Of course I'm willing, but I'm afraid Master Nanshan doesn't have the time, Yao 11 said with a flirtatious look. Haha, there will always be time, wait until I come over next time. At this point, Yao 11 had reached the deepest part of the voyage. Yao 11 flicked her fingers and opened a door. Now that she got to the point, she became a little more serious and said, "Emissary, please come in." Wu Yu followed her into it. Inside was a small white room. There were about 5 Shangling Dao warships placed around it. After a casual scan, he knew that each of them was a Shangling Dao weapon with more than 100,000 magic arrays. Device. The most is no more than 200,000. After all, most of the top experts would not draw more than 200,000 magic circles and exhaust their energy to forge a warship. Rather than a more powerful weapon. Yao 11 asked, Emperor, if you have any requirements, please describe them, and the little girl will recommend them to Emperor Envoy. These 5 are all good warships. Gods are selling them, and almost all of them are the best here it is. Such spiritual tools are rarely sold elsewhere. Strong and hidden, Wu Yu put forward the suggestion of the Emperor. Yao 11 chuckled and said, Emperor is really cute. These 5 things are all of this type. I'd better introduce him to Emperor Emissary in detail. She talked about professional matters and began to introduce these 5 warships, mainly introducing their origins, forgers, and how long they have been passed down. Then she talked about the main formation, defensive formations, special function formations, etc. Of course, there is also a price tag, which ranges from 100 Dao Shendan to 200 Dao Shendan. The price of an attack weapon with the same number of arrays would be a little higher than that of a warship. But the most expensive one is a warship with nearly 200,000 magic arrays, and only 200 Dao Shendan. This shows how heavy it was last time Emperor Yan lost more than 5,000 Wen Dao Shendan to Wu Yu. Shockingly, Wu Yu now has more wealth than many people who are above the 6th level of the Dao realm. However, this doesn't seem to last long. Wu Yu had a general understanding. Anyway, he was not short of money now, and the money was relatively easy to come by, so he had no idea of cherishing it. Therefore, after listening to the introduction, he did not hesitate and did not choose something like the Kangxian, god of war and other warships, but directly chose the Yingxian worth 200 Dao Shendan. The Yingxian is all white, and it looks like it could be carved from white jade. Before the sacrifice, you could only see the appearance of this warship. It doesn't look as powerful and domineering as the other types, but it is more refined, like a work of art. The word hidden immortal was written in black ink on the sail. These 2 words are very expressive. Each of them contains at least 5,000 magic circles. The movement of the magic circles makes these 2 words particularly charming, just like the eyes of the Yingxian. In fact, in terms of the power of the defensive array, the Yingxian is no more powerful than the other 4. Compared with the other 4, the most important thing is that it has nearly 100,000 defensive arrays created for concealment. The concealment ability of this warship is powerful. When its main magic circle, the Immortal without trace formation, is in operation, the entire warship is nearly invisible and silent, drifting past without causing the slightest movement. It is said that even Emperor Yan's level cannot detect it within 100 feet. If it were further away, it would be harder for others to detect it. Wu Yu felt that concealment without causing conflict was more important than defensive formations. One is to avoid danger, and the other is to resist danger. When resisting danger, Wu Yu believes in his own strength even more. So he quickly decided that he wanted the Yingxian. The Emperor's envoy is indeed as legendary as he is. He acts vigorously and resolutely without any hesitation. Of course, he has the 5,000 Dao Shendan that he won from Emperor Yan's son. Now in the ancient Yanhuan kingdom, everyone knows that the Emperor's envoy is. As for the rich immortal, I wonder how lucky that girl is to become a Taoist companion of the Emperor's envoy. This was the most valuable business deal in her shop, and of course she was happy. Fu Xian refers to ascetics who have a lot of wealth. Wu Yu didn't say anything, so Nanshan Wanjiao said, "Don't worry about him. he is a man who doesn't know how to be charming. How can any beauty like him? That's not necessarily true. In my opinion, the Emperor's envoy is very charming. Yao 11 stared at Wu Yu with bright eyes. Really? I didn't notice it at all, haha. Nanshan Wanjiao smiled. After delivering 200 Dao Shendan, Wu Yu put away the Yingxian No and prepared to return to the Emperor's mansion to perform sacrifices. Emissary Emperor Yu, please remember to come here often, and so does Mr. Nanshan. This little woman is guarding this shop alone, but she is very lonely. After Wu Yu and the others walked out, Yao 11 was still teasing. Don't worry, what you will receive from now on will be poetic and romantic, Nanshan Wanjiao said. He was so shameless that Yezixi couldn't stand it anymore and pretended to vomit like a lazy cat. This chapter is not over yet, please click the next page to continue reading. After walking a long way, I could still hear Yao 11's voice being amused by her. I really don't want to leave after meeting this beauty, Nanshan Wanjiao sighed. Then you should stay here and don't go, so as to avoid being noisy every day, Yezixi said. That won't work. Old Wu is such a simple young man, I can't let you occupy him alone. Nanshan Wanjiao pretended to hug Wu Yu. Don't talk nonsense. With these two people joining them, Wu Yu's trip will definitely not look lonely. Unexpectedly, the two of them, because they were incompatible, became chatterboxes. Wu Yu actually knew that this was intentional by Nanshan Wanjiao. During this teasing, Yezixi would have emotional fluctuations, which would make her get out of the shadow as soon as possible. Don't look at him as casual, he is actually very careful. Maybe when Wu Yu was in the lava hell, he saved him from the ghost array guest, which changed his heart a lot. Let's go and find a lover for old Wu. Shut up, brother Yu is so young, why do you call him old Wu? Should I call him little Wu? Doesn't he have a name? Calling by name is so strange, you call him brother, and don't allow others to get close to him. Wu Yu is not a particularly cold person, especially his original temperament gives people the feeling that he is still good at talking and laughing. Of course, compared with Nanshan Wanjiao, who has never had a serious experience, he looks very mature. After returning to the Imperial Envoy Hall, Emperor Yu had not sent any news yet, so Wu Yu went to a quiet place alone. Naturally, he had to sacrifice the hidden immortal first. 200,000 magic arrays, and not a fierce attacking Taoist weapon, Wu Yu himself thought it was not difficult, but when he studied it carefully, he found that the God Immortal Traceless Array part was difficult for him to understand and too mysterious. It would take a long time to really comprehend it. Nanshan is good at hiding and transforming. This spiritual weapon is probably suitable for him. It's better to let him control it. Wu Yu thought of this and went directly to Nanshan Wanjiao to tell him his decision. What? This is a spiritual weapon. You gave it to me like this? Are you in love with me? Nanshan Wanjiao stared at him with wide eyes. Stop talking nonsense. I'll give you one day. Wu Yu threw it on his head. You must be in love with me. Such a token of love is really precious. Nanshan Wanjiao put the Yingxian Hao on his face with a sweet face. Wu Yu was too lazy to talk nonsense with him. Come on, no more teasing, but I really thank you for trusting me so much. Wu Yu. Nanshan Wanjiao was serious. What do you mean? I think you have a better relationship with that little girl. After all, she is simple and innocent and completely depends on you. You will definitely not be on guard against me. In comparison, I was using you from the beginning. I don't look like a fuel-saving person, so I thought you would be very defensive against me. Today I finally see that you really treat me as a friend. Let's not talk about brothers for now. That thing can't be formed overnight. Wu Yu smiled and said, don't be so serious. You look like a fool. It's better to be shameless and vulgar as before. It's more pleasing to the eye. Don't be so direct. You saved my life last time, and I haven't thanked you yet, Nanshan Wanjiao said angrily. No need to thank you. I guess it won't be the last time. Nanshan Wanjiao said, that won't work. I have to give you a life next time, forget it, don't talk about such useless things. Just give me one day. Are you so impatient? Do you want to see that little lover? He probably determined that Nangong Wei was the person Wu Yu wanted to see. Wu Yu was too lazy to explain to him. When we get the exit documents, we will set off. Next, Wu Yu actually had to do one more thing. He had already reached the 4th level of the Yuanshen realm. He wanted to challenge the stronger puppet behind the Sword Spirit Lord in the floating life tower, which was comparable to the 2nd level of the 3 disasters asking the Wei realm. What kind of puppet was that? Wu Yu had not yet understood it. Before, he thought that he was not so anxious to challenge it, and could wait until he was more confident. But now he was about to go to Nanyan Demon Continent, which was not the safe ancient country of Yanhuang, so he had to strengthen himself in all aspects. He and his clone entered the floating life tower. Heaven-swallowing record. Author, Feng Qing Yang. Chapter 918. Inside the Fusion Tower. R. N. E. N. Rainan. Wu Yu's true body and sky-swallowing body are ready. Regarding the sky-swallowing body, after leaving the Yanhuang ancient kingdom and reaching the endless sea, there are sea monsters everywhere who want to kill people, seize treasures, and seek wealth and death. There are many resources to make the sky-swallowing body more powerful. The body that swallows the sky is not even showing the strongest power of Beiming Emperor K. Taiwan Novel Network Rightward Arrow. Now I am just waiting for the news about the Emperor's son, so I can take care of the stronger puppet first. Of course, Wu Yu was not absolutely sure, he could only try his best. When he decided to challenge, new puppets appeared in the white magic circle, and the Sword Spirit Lord that was shattered before had actually recovered a long time ago and is now in the black magic circle. The puppet, which was stronger than Sword Spirit Master, looked like a human at first glance. The biggest transformation from the skeleton flame dragon to the Sword Spirit Lord is that the Sword Spirit Lord looks very similar to a real person, and this new puppet, Wu Yu discovered, is actually a puppet that is almost difficult to distinguish from a real person. Although it is still there in the magic circle, Wu Yu had fiery eyes, which penetrated the light and saw 10 of them. This puppet is much taller than Sword Spirit Master. His figure is more puppet-like, thicker than Wu Yu's human form. His skin is yellowish and swarthy. He wears jet black armor, black iron boots, and a helmet on his head. He looks like a top general in the army. Full of evil and bloody aura, it looks like they have been fighting and fighting all year round. The most awe-inspiring thing is the halberd standing on the ground in his hand. It is also completely black and is actually part of his body. After all, it is not a real person, but a puppet. But if you don't look carefully, you would really think that this is a top-level immortal cultivation army general holding a spiritual weapon in his hand. The appearance of the armor would be mistaken for the Xianlong army in the city of God. The halberd pointed toward the sky, it was a trident. I am the halberd spirit lord, are you ready to die in battle? Just when Wu Yu could not look away from the trident, the puppet halberd spirit lord had already spoken, with a thick voice, just like a real person. When he opened his eyes at this moment, those dark pupils, smart and cold eyes, it can be said that he looked more like a real person than Sword Spirit Master. The reason why Wu Yu was fascinated by the trident was because Luo Bin's weapon, the soul of the hidden sea, was a blue trident, gorgeous and exquisite. In contrast, Ji Lingzun's trident was cold, bloodthirsty, and rough and crude. Wu Yu said no more. Its true body transformed according to the laws of heaven and earth, and then transformed into an immortal ape. In the end, it was much larger than the halberd spirit master. The halberd spirit master looked like a child in front of his eyes. Then, Wu Yu sacrificed the 9 tribulations furnace to burn it. Holding the Tianzu in your hand, the 9 colored flames burned fiercely, causing the heat inside the floating tower to increase crazily. At the same time, the body of Swallowing the Sky contains the removal of souls, and the right hand holds the beaming Emperor K. Accompanying Wu Yu's body, a war is about to break out. Wu Yu naturally knew that these puppets of the floating life tower, starting from Sword Spirit Master, seemed to be getting stronger and stronger, and they were definitely not as easy to deal with before. He had defeated Xin Yan, but facing the immortal Ji Lingzun, he was not very sure. Buzz. The halberd spirit master didn't feel any pressure at all. The instructions he received were to attack Wu Yu without any mercy or fear, even if he was completely broken. A big battle. When the fight started, both Wu Yu's body and the sky-swallowing body faced tremendous pressure. The halberd spirit lord attacked Wu Yu's body with all its strength, completely ignoring the sky-swallowing body. Under that strong body, the severe cold of beaming Emperor's palace would actually have a slightly smaller impression on the puppet. Just like this, the halberd spirit master continuously withstood beaming Emperor's violent attacks, but remained unmoved and still targeted the puppet. Wu Yu's true body. Last time, with the help of Sword Spirit Lord, Wu Yu was the one who tried his best to defeat Xin Yan. Now that the Sword Spirit Master is missing, although he has improved, he is still losing ground under the pressure of the Ji Spirit Master. Zhongshan Emperor's seal. The halberd spirit master used the halberd as a pen and drew a big seal in front of his eyes, which was radiant for a while. Ji Lingzun has many methods. After a fierce battle, it was basically evenly matched. Ji Lingzun couldn't really defeat Wu Yu, but Wu Yu didn't have the chance to completely defeat him, so he kept pestering him. In the end, after struggling for a long time, Wu Yu still felt that the situation was a little worse now. Just at this time, Emperor Yu's son arrived, and Wu Yu exited the Fuxian Tower first. When we leave Yanhuang and reach the sea area, if there are sea monsters without eyes, let the sky-swallowing body rise to a level first, and then come in to challenge the Ji Lingzun, so that we can be more sure. Wu Yu decided like this. Emperor Yu arrived and Wu Yu quickly went out. Yezixi and Nanshan Wanjia were already waiting here. After meeting Wu Yu, Emperor Yu took out a golden scroll and said, "This is the exit document. Just go to the southernmost southern imperial city and show it to the people guarding the border." After Wu Yu took it, he found that there were many magic formations carved on it. These magic formations were unique to the Yanhuang royal family and could not be deciphered or drawn by outsiders. This was the exit document exclusive to Wu Yu and the other three, and it recorded the information, portraits, etc. of the three of them, as well as the exit permission personally approved by the regent. This is also a symbol of status. When they arrive at the southern imperial city, some minor officials who handle affairs do not dare to embarrass themselves and are absolutely on their toes. Thank you very much, Emperor. This chapter is not over, please click on the next page to continue reading. Before, they had forcibly brought Wu Yu back from the beaming empire, and it didn't take long. Now they are no longer worried about Wu Yu leaving Yanhuang privately and never coming back. This is also a kind of trust. Hearing that you were leaving Yanhuang, the regent took it very seriously. After understanding all the circumstances with me, he agreed to give you the exit documents. He also asked me if I needed to send someone to protect you. I told him that this is yours. It's a private matter, and I guess you don't want to be followed by someone, so I refuse for you. Wu Yu nodded. He really didn't want anyone to follow him, even a strong man. Then, Emperor Zi took out a white jade box. The white jade itself had 7 spiritual lines. It was a precious treasure material and could be used to forge many things. However, it was just a container at this time. He handed the white jade box to Wu Yu. Said, "The regent really values you. When I went to Taku Immortal Road, I didn't get this kind of treatment." What is this? Wu Yu felt the extremely rich power of the magic circle. This is the immortal realm talisman of my royal family. It can block attacks below the 6th level of the Dao realm. Of course, the talisman can only be used once. The formation of the immortal realm can last for about half an hour. Really, when you are in danger, I might be able to protect your life. This is a personal gift from the regent. Wu Yu took the immortal realm talisman. To be honest, it was a really good thing. It was probably worth a lot of money. After all, talismans are sometimes really valuable. No worse than the value of Taoist tools. The regent gave it to himself as an individual, and it was his own thing. Regardless of whether his starting point was close to the ancient Emperor Yanhuang, Wu Yu felt that he should be grateful, and it was already rare that he did not embarrass himself. So Wu Yu hurriedly said, "The Emperor, please thank the regent on my behalf." "I've already thanked you." "When will we set off?" Emperor asked. He seemed a little reluctant to give up. After all, Wu Yu had changed his status in the City of Gods. Now he had a lot of attention, and many forces were secretly contacting him. Wu Yu looked at Nanshan Wanjiao. He wanted to say that he had purchased the warship and would leave when the sacrifice was completed. Unexpectedly, Nanshan Wanjiao chuckled and said, "With my intelligence, I have already done it." Sure enough, this is an area he is good at, and it is not difficult for him. If Wu Yu wanted to do it, it would probably not take much time. After all, this type of Taoist weapon is not the same as the attack type. When refining, you need to have some understanding of the magic circle. Wu Yu then said, "It's not too late. It is estimated that she may still be nearby. If it is too late, there will probably be no news. Let's just leave." "Yes, Emperor Zi," I nodded. "In that case, my son, please take your leave." Wu Yu held his hand. He has always done things vigorously and resolutely, without any hesitation. At this time, he made a decision. As for the original and last talismans, they have already left a lot of them with each other. If you have any trouble, please send me this talisman immediately. I'll see if I can help, Emperor Yu said. No problem. Emperor, don't worry, but can Nanyan Demon Continent be as mysterious and dangerous as the Taku Immortal Road at that time? Wu Yu said with a smile. That's right. When you entered Taku Immortal Road, you were not very strong, so you survived. Okay, let's go, then I will see you off far away. In any case, he is still a grasshopper on a rope now, and Emperor Kairu's attitude towards him is excellent in all aspects. Wu Yu nodded. After saying goodbye, he came to the open space in front of the Emperor's palace. He looked at Nanshan Wanjiao, and naturally asked him to sacrifice the Yingxian. Okay, look at me. Nanshan Wanjiao put away the folding fan, waved his hand, and a white light flew out and expanded rapidly. In the blink of an eye, the crowd transformed into a huge warship, and the space inside was no better than the Emperor's palace is small. This warship is all white, made of white jade, and engraved with many exquisite patterns. It looks like a heavenly palace. Even Yezixi couldn't help but say, "It's so beautiful. I knew you would choose the hidden immortal. I've been coveting it for a long time. First, it's useless, second, it can't be sacrificed, and third, there isn't enough money. Speaking of which, as the Emperor's son, I envy you." Emperor Yu sighed with emotion. "Emperor, don't be anxious. In the future, this world may all be yours." Wu Yu smiled lightly, and after saying that, he boarded the Yingxian with Nanshan Wanjiao, Yezixi and Lalan Mao. Emperor Yu looked at Wu Yu setting off with a smile on his face. "Let's set off," Wu Yu said. "Okay, Captain," Nanshan Wanjiao shouted, and the Yingxian took off into the sky, but disappeared into the clouds in an instant. The Emperor stayed where he was, looking at the end of the sky. Suddenly, his two eyes moved closer to the middle and converged together, forming a round eye as big as a fist. They were green and looked at the direction where the Yingxian disappeared, without eyes and completely blank. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. Heaven Swallowing Record. Author, Fengqing Yang. Chapter 919. City of Gods. R. A. N. E. and Yanhuang Imperial City. Emperor Yan's mansion. Deep in the courtyard, Emperor Yan was walking in the fairy garden with his hands behind his back. The fragrance of this fairy garden is rich and refreshing, and the fairies you see have many spiritual patterns, which are the essence of the heaven, earth, sun, and moon. For mortals, this is a fairy land where you can live 100 years with just one breath. Behind Emperor Yan, there are several old men. Judging by their appearance, they all have high positions and advanced cultivation. If they were not young, they would probably all have the hope of becoming immortals. They are also a group of people who have been following Emperor Yan for a long time. Emperor Yan turned around at this time and said solemnly, "Is it possible to confirm this news?" One of them said, "It's absolutely true. My people first saw Emperor Yu's envoy buying a warship to go to sea in the voyage, and then saw with his own eyes the Yingxian taking off towards the south near Emperor Yu's mansion. And go. The purpose of purchasing the Yingxian is obviously to go to sea. In Yanhuang territory, there is no need for a warship that is so good at hiding." Emperor Yan nodded and said thoughtfully, "To go south and go to the sea, you should go to the southern imperial city, which is the largest exit gate. After leaving, where will they go? By the way, Emperor Yan, the regent, why are you willing to let him go out and take risks?" "I don't know. However, according to my inquiry, at a gathering, the emperor's envoy once asked the friends of the emperor's son to find a person named Nangongwei for him. I estimate that this time there was someone. The news about Nangongwei will probably make the emperor take risks." "Who is this Nangongwei?" "I don't know, maybe he was the person Emperor Yu was once in love with." Emperor Yan was silent for a moment and said, "With our abilities, Wu Yu and his group are still too young. Now that we have chased the southern emperor city and set out to sea, it will not be difficult for us to keep up with the Yingxian. It is completely possible. It depends on where they are going, for example, Nanyan Demon Continent. If they go to Nanyan Demon Continent, we can hide a little bit, lure the local demons, and attack them. The emperor is wise, I think so too. The revenge of the 5,000 Dao Shendan will always have to be avenged. And Wu Yu has too much property on him. Maybe this is the only chance for us. Last time, I lost unjustly. To be honest, this is probably the emperor's biggest stain." There was a hint of blood red in Emperor Yan's eyes. He looked at a delicate flower in front of him. The flower had 9 colors and was very gorgeous. It seemed to have at least 7 spiritual lines. Under his gaze, the fairy quickly withered and finally turned into ashes. During this process, everyone else was silent, waiting for Emperor Yan's decision. As long as we do it quietly, he shouldn't know. He may not know everything. So, it is possible that I need to take another risk, Emperor Yan said. Then he looked at everyone and said, "Who will make the arrangements? All of you here are my old brothers for many years, and all of them are no worse than me in cultivation. Someone must go there in person, follow them, and look for suitable opportunities." Emperor Yan was able to make a decision, and everyone nodded, but when it came to who would personally handle it, no one stood up for a while. At this moment, Emperor Yan received a messenger talisman. After he opened it, his expression changed. He burned the talisman, shook his head and said, "Forget it, my mother said you can't do anything." "Why?" Everyone was surprised. "She said that nothing can escape his eyes. The only way I can deal with them is to make myself stronger, surpass everyone, and stand out from the crowd. This is also the way of all the emperor's sons and daughters, no matter how they use any means, in his eyes it's all a joke. Thinking of that existence, Everyone fell silent. Yes, this was no ordinary fight. So, it depends on whether Wu Yu is lucky enough to come back after he goes out. Nanshan Wanjiao controls the Yingxian. The warship Yingxian was sailing through the sky. Wu Yu and others were on the side of the ship, while Lazy Cat was lying on a high place, lazily basking in the sun. The speed of the Yingxian is the fastest when it is turned on. Although it is a little slower than Somersault Cloud, it does not consume much Zifu energy and only needs to provide the operation of the magic circle. On the Yingxian, they could clearly see the magnificent mountains and rivers, grasslands, fields, cities, and deep mountains of the entire ancient Yanhuang kingdom. But from the outside, there was no trace of a warship passing by, neither the clouds nor the wind changed at all, and the Yingxian, which was concealed by tens of thousands of magic circles, could not be seen physically. This also saves a lot of trouble. The outside world is really huge. In the past, we were all frogs in a well. Yazixi lay on the railing and kept looking down. She has not stopped for several days. She looked at the whole world. Said with emotion. These days, they have seen countless mountains, lakes, rushing rivers, and many immortal cities. No matter how big or small, they all have a unique flavor, a large number of magic formations, and traces of ancient history. For Yazixi, it is more useful to take a good look at this magnificent world than to sit and practice, because this can expand her world and change her Tao greatly. The limitations of the Guiyan clan are actually here. This is also the place where the Yanhuang clan bans the Guiyan clan the most viciously. After being treated as a frog in the well, it is basically impossible for the Guiyan clan to truly survive the great catastrophe of the immortal Dao. I seem to see the vast sea. After a while, Yazixi jumped up excitedly. Because Wu Yu told her that in the world of Yanfu, the vast sea is much larger than the land, endless, that is the real big. This chapter is not finished yet. Please click on the next page to continue reading the exciting content. Southern Emperor City, we are almost there. Nanshan Wanjiao stood on the bow and looked out. Wu Yu looked into the distance and saw a huge city in the distance, from east to west, extremely slender, like a dragon lying on the border of the ancient Yanhuang country, majestic and vast, blocking the sea and land. That is the Southern Emperor City. It is the largest fortress in the southern part of the entire Yanhuang ancient domain, and one of the cores of the Yanhuang ancient country's border magic array. Since ancient times, the Southern Emperor City has never been destroyed. After the Southern Emperor City, there is the Endless Sea. The sea is shrouded in clouds and mist, and it is not far to see. However, Wu Yu grew up by the sea, and he knows how magnificent the sea is, especially when he reaches the center of the sea. The huge, endless sea water will make people despair. Leaving the strict Yanhuang ancient country and going to the exciting, fierce, and unmanaged world, it seems that Nanshan Wanjiao and Yazixi are very excited, and Wu Yu himself seems to have not been to a place where he can really fight for a long time. To be honest, the Yinhuan Sea prison is not such a place, and the lava hell can only be barely regarded as such. But those are all controlled places, and the endless sea in front of him, as well as the Nanyan demon continent, are all free worlds. When approaching the Southern Emperor City, Nanshan Wanjiao controlled the hidden immortal to land, then folded it up and headed for the Southern Emperor City. It can be seen that many people from the entire Yanhuang ancient country are heading to the Southern Emperor City, and at the same time, many people have come out of the Southern Emperor City and headed to various places in Yanhuang. Nowadays, it is considered the most peaceful era. There are still many cultivators who go in and out of the border and go to the Southern Sea every day. Some are looking for treasures outside, some are fighting with monsters, and some are seeking breakthroughs. More are trading, transporting the treasures of the ancient Yanhuang country to the Southern Yin monster continent, and trading with monsters in exchange for immortals, treasures, or Taoist tools that they have but Yanhuang does not have. You can get a lot of benefits from it. Some even trade directly with the sea monsters. The sea monsters have no fixed place to live. Compared with the monsters in the southern Yin monster continent, they will be more brutal, undisciplined, and dishonest, but the harvest may be higher, so there are many people who take risks. Not everyone aims to become an immortal. After becoming an immortal is hopeless, more people choose to accumulate wealth and cultivation resources to benefit their descendants and make themselves stronger. Therefore, trade is a very important link in the entire world of Yanfu. Not everyone is like Wu Yu, who doesn't care about money at all, but only wants to break through and become stronger. Most people don't have the hope of becoming an immortal. When I came to the Southern Emperor City, I found out before I entered that the cultivation of most people in Yanhuang was not as terrible as that of the cultivators in the Divine Capital. The Divine Capital was full of super elites. Although everyone here cultivated, adult men only had the condensation realm. It can be seen that there are many more cultivators in the Golden Dandao realm than in the Purple Mansion realm. Wu Yu and the other three mixed in the crowd and wanted to enter the Southern Emperor City. In the Southern Emperor City, demons and ghosts seemed to be very common, so they were not special and it was easy to get in. After all, the Southern Emperor City did not set up defenses. If you want to enter the Southern Emperor City from the other side of the border, you have to go through a lot of scrutiny. Wu Yu and the other two entered the Southern Emperor City. It was much more lively than the God City. There were people everywhere, shops everywhere, and countless inns. Compared with the God City, it had the unique style of the South. The monks were dressed more hotly, and the women on the street were more enthusiastic, making people linger. When they came to the Southern Emperor City, most people were going to leave the country. However, many people would choose to stay in the Southern Emperor City first to replenish their supplies, while Wu Yu and the other three went directly to the border further south, which was the South Emperor Pass. Only after leaving the Southern Emperor Pass and crossing the border formation could they truly leave the ancient country of Yanhuang. In the Southern Emperor City, people on the street basically didn't know Wu Yu, so he wouldn't be noticed wherever he went like in the God City. Not long after, the Southern Emperor Pass arrived. There were also crowds of people here, and there were many strong men lurking around. I was out of town these past 2 days and wanted to update more, but the typing conditions were not good, no heating in central China, freezing hands, so I failed. I will return to Shenzhen in a few days, settle down, and then update more. I hope you guys and gals will understand. Heaven Swallowing Record. Author, Fengqing Yang. Chapter 920. People who arrive at the Southern Emperor Pass basically have only one purpose, which is to leave Yanhuang and go to the sea outside. Xuanhuan? Text? RAN. They may go out to experience and search for treasures. After all, some fairy treasures and materials only exist in the sea. It is possible to go to trade, do business, and obtain cultivation resources. It is possible to go to other immortal empires by sea. As long as there is a coastline, the sea route can be reached. Compared with land, the sea route is dangerous, but there is no need to cross several countries on land continuously, and the application procedures will be more convenient. For example, from the Beiming Empire to the ancient country of Yanhuang, there is no border. If you go by land, you have to pass through many immortal empires in the middle. Then you must get the permission of these immortal empires to enter. If there are many immortal empires passing through, it will take a long time to handle the procedures, and the efficiency is very low, especially some immortal empires, which do not allow you to pass through at all. I hope readers will remember our domain name Taiwan Novel Network rightward arrow. So, although it is risky to go by sea, it is actually a better choice as long as you have the strength. At least it is much faster and more convenient. The Southern Emperor City is one of the most important gateways in the entire Yanhuang ancient country. There are cultivators, demons, and even ghost cultivators from all over the world of Yanfu coming in and out. Wu Yu now only needs an exit document to go out. Each prefecture has the qualification to approve exit documents, but some important people still need the approval of the Yanhuang royal family. If it is entry, it will be much more complicated and there will be many audits, especially if you are not a Yanhuang clan. It is not enough to just bring back exit documents. Everything about the individual must be recorded. Although there are indeed some demons around, it is actually very difficult for demons to enter the Yanhuang ancient country, and it is also very difficult for ghost cultivators. This is the exit place. The scale is slightly smaller. There are at least 10 times more places at the entrance, and a large number of Yanhuang people are checking. Many people are queuing here to move forward. There are at least tens of thousands of passages at the Nandi Pass, and they are slowly passing at this time. Sometimes there will be a little problem, that is, a foreigner is doing evil in Yanhuang, thinking that he is unknown, but in fact he has been wanted. When he is about to leave here, he is easily captured. Before queuing, people from the southern Emperor city will first roughly verify the exit documents. Wu Yu and the other three walked forward. He looked like a member of the Yanhuang clan, and he brought a demon and a ghost cultivator. This combination was a bit weird. Seeing his power, the examiner did not dare to neglect him. When Wu Yu took out the exit documents, the man looked at it, shuddered, and immediately stood up, respectfully saying, "Your Excellency is holding the highest level of exit documents, and you can go through a special channel. Dong He, take Your Excellency there." A young boy next to him nodded quickly, staring at Wu Yu with his dark eyes, and said, "Please follow me, please come this way. It takes a lot of time to queue up here, and there is a special channel, which is naturally the best." So, Wu Yu walked into a palace in the envious eyes of many anxious people queuing. "Isn't that the Emperor Li's envoy?" "Yes, it's the Emperor Li's envoy. I've seen him in the capital of gods. It's definitely him. That demon is his follower. That ghost cultivator seems to be the subordinate of Emperor Li. The Emperor Li's envoy is not in the capital of gods. Why did he come here? Is he leaving Yanhuang?" "Yes, he must be leaving. What is he going to do?" People finally recognized him and discussed him enthusiastically. Many people had only heard of Wu Yu's name but had never seen Wu Yu in person. At this time, they also widened their eyes and rushed to see Wu Yu's true face. However, Wu Yu disappeared in the blink of an eye. What's so great about it? Once you leave Yanhuang and arrive at the territory of demons, you are nothing. In front of Wu Yu and the other two, there was a white-haired old man. He was sitting cross-legged, holding a book of magic array in his hand and studying it very seriously. After the young man who led the way came in, he called softly, "Master Lu of the inspection department, the envoy of Emperor Li is here, with the highest level of exit documents." The old man was startled and quickly put away his books. When he saw Wu Yu, he said, "I didn't expect that the envoy of Emperor Li would come here. He is really a rare guest. Is the envoy of Emperor Li going to leave Yanhuang?" This person is specialized in reviewing high-level exit documents. Wu Yu handed the things to him and said, "Yes, it's here." Master Lu of the inspection department took it with both hands and smiled, "No matter what exit documents it is, I have to check it. This is my duty. Please don't be surprised, envoy of Emperor Li." No problem. Wu Yu also saw that the ancient country of Yanhuang is indeed an extremely huge national machine. For example, Master Lu of the inspection department is just a small part of this huge machine. In the past, the protection of the border of the Wu kingdom of Dongyu was not to such an extent, and it was easy for foreign martial arts masters to cross in. It was actually approved by the regent himself. Envoy Li, Nanshan Wanjiao, and Yezixi. There is no problem with this exit document. Envoy Li can leave at any time. However, please keep this exit document well. When you come back, you need to verify your identity. The old man was very friendly and handed the exit document to Wu Yu with both hands. In that case, I'll leave first. Behind this old man was the special passage. The imperial envoy has come in a hurry. Why don't you rest for a few days in the southern emperor city? My old master is the biological son of the southern emperor Dinantian, the young master of the southern emperor city. I think he can accompany the imperial envoy for a few days and show his hospitality, the old man said. Next time, I really have something to do this time. Wu Yu declined politely. This chapter is not over yet, please click on the next page to continue reading. The southern emperor is the master here, named Dinantian, who is older than Diyuantian and Dishishan. His cultivation is probably deeper, and he is also the confidant of the ancient emperor Xuanhuan. Otherwise, how could he be stationed in such an important southern emperor city? To be honest, the son of Dinantian is not lower in status than the son of the emperor. After all, there are too many sons and daughters of the emperor. Then welcome the imperial envoy to come again. The old man did not force Wu Yu, and at this time he sent Wu Yu off and headed to the exit passage. When Wu Yu was in the Beiming Empire, he also entered through the passage of the National Boundary Array. This time, he stepped into the passage of the National Boundary Array again. Looking around, he saw all kinds of small arrays and all kinds of gorgeous lights. Wu Yu and the other two walked in this gorgeous color passage. Deep in front of them was the endless sea. It's so beautiful. Yazixi and Lazy Cat both raised their heads, looking around while walking, and marveled at the beautiful scenery. What's so good about it? It's not as beautiful as the body of a beauty. That's the most beautiful fortune in the world, Nanshan Wanjiao said disdainfully. Vulgar Yazixi looked at him angrily. After all, this pig really ruined the situation. Meow, Lazy Cat was also unhappy. You are still young, you don't understand, haha. Nanshan Wanjiao strode out and said, hurry up, the hidden immortal can't wait to overturn this sea. Soon after, they walked out of the passage in the National Boundary Array. In fact, Wu Yu knew that this passage looked gorgeous, but in fact, its power was the most terrifying among all the National Boundary Arrays. It was comparable to the seal of the lava hell. The seal of the lava hell was not big, but this National Boundary Array was extremely huge. And it was very high, which was why it was unrealistic for ordinary people to fly across the Xiaoxian Empire on the National Boundary Array. The ancient demon god could not reappear, so the Yanhuang National Boundary Array was unlikely to be broken. Rush out of it, and outside is the vast sea. Looking from a distance, the blue sky and white clouds, the azure blue sea was extremely calm, and the gem-like blue spread to the junction of the sky and the sea. Looking back, it was the colorful and extremely complex National Boundary Array in the ancient Yanhuang domain, like a huge pot covering and protecting this huge land. It was still very peaceful here. There was a long area under my feet, all white sandy beaches. At this time, countless people were on the beach. Some had just come out, some were about to go in, and there was also the Nanyang Corps of the ancient Yanhuang country stationed here to maintain order. The monks wearing Firebird-style armor were the Nanyang Corps. Yazixi saw the beach for the first time and wanted to take a few more glances. Wu Yu and Nanshan Wanjiao had already boarded the Yingxian, and she could only reluctantly go up. Then, the Yingxian took off and instantly entered the clouds, and then began to hide. In the blink of an eye, it disappeared silently and completely. In fact, Wu Yu and the others were still standing on the deck, by the side of the ship. Yazixi was in a good mood, facing the refreshing sea breeze, basking in the warm sunshine, and shuttling through the clouds. Old Wu, are we going to sail on the seabed, on the sea surface, or in the sky? Nanshan Wanjiao asked. He called Old Wu, and he was used to it. Wu Yu said, there are the most demons in the seabed, and they often move on the sea surface. The sky is actually their territory, but the sky is still clearer than the sea. If you want to take risks, choose the seabed. If you want peace, with the stealth level of our Yingxian, it is better to go in the sky. Anyway, they are all the territories of sea demons, and the difference is not very big. Okay? Wu Yu looked into the distance. At least at this time, it seemed that the endless sea was calm and peaceful, not as dangerous as the rumors said. At this time, there were still many warships of the Yanhuang tribe around him, and they also set off at this time. Some of them were heading in the same direction as him, probably heading to Nanyanya's Hu. Of course, they could not see the existence of Yingxian. Soon, Wu Yu's Yingxian left the same group of people far behind. The deeper he went, the more Wu Yu felt the storm. Whether it was the sea or the sky, they were both more violent. He stood at the bow, looking at the deep sea with his fiery eyes. His sight penetrated the deep sea, and he could vaguely see some small monsters making noises. There were too many creatures in the sea, and there were hundreds of millions of monsters, many of which could not be named.